We're living in a world of too much. We're living in a world of abundance. And honestly, I find it's quite easy to get disconnected along the way. Hi, I'm Bettina and I'm here to help you get your connection back and act from a place of clarity. Today, I've got a question from my friend Miriam from Ireland. Hi Bettina, I know that it is better for me to go for a run rather than sit scrolling on my phone. So why can't I just do it? And how can I move from knowing to doing? Very powerful question, Miriam. And honestly, I think so many of us can relate to it. Well, I for sure can. So probably we all know it, eating chocolate or eating crisps instead of being active or spending too much time binge watching or whatever. Well, the good news is you are probably not unmotivated, Miriam. You're probably overstimulated by instant gratification. And probably you have forgotten that the effort itself can be quite rewarding. Well, this answer only comes partly from me. I'm referring here to Dr. Anna Lembke, professor and psychiatrist and clinical director at Stanford University and Stanford Clinic. So I personally find in order to understand ourselves better, we need a basic understanding of our brains. So what is holding us back and what moves us forward? And this is what I'm now sharing with you before I'll give you later very practical tips. Let's start with dopamine and what has it got to do with our motivation. Dopamine is not the happiness hormone. Dopamine is the motivation hormone. So very simplified, whatever our brains, what we consider relevant and interesting, we want to have more of it. So the more dopamine is released and the more quickly it is released, the stronger the urge to have more of it. But the thing is, dopamine does not make us happy. And this is especially really hard in a world of too much. So let's go a bit further and have a look how our brains work. Again, I'm referring here to Dr. Anna Lembke. So she explains our brains using a very powerful metaphor, the metaphor of a seesaw. I personally use a metaphor of a pendulum, but the principle is the same. So when we imagine a pendulum, on one side we have the pleasure, on the other side we have the pain. And our brains always strive for balance, always strive to go back to the middle. And Dr. Anna Lembke also explains the functioning of our brains, again, very simplified, of course, comparing it to a thermostat, regulating the room temperature. So our brains regulate our inner state. So that is the body temperature, the heartbeat, the hormone level, and the mood, and of course, a lot more. So let me give you a very concrete example. Let's say you're having a nice meal with some wine and nice dessert, but not too much. You know when to stop. So the meal was nice, so we go. So the pendulum swings to the pleasure part. And now your meal is over, unfortunately. It swings to the pain part, but not too much because you knew when to stop. And in a relatively short time, your brain, your inner state is back to the middle and you're feeling balanced. It's the same when we're watching a good film, like let's say a 90-minute film. We have enough time to process the film, and so the film was good. It goes to the pleasure part. Then unfortunately the film is over, it goes to the pain part, but relatively quickly our brains go back to the middle, feeling balanced. Well, That is a completely different story with social media. Social media is programmed to hijack our brains. When we think of a 1-2 minute reel, when we think of social media feeds, I mean, we all know it. We don't stop after one reel. We don't stop after one feed. We just go on. And social media is quick, intense, there is an overload. And our brains aren't made for this overload. We need time to process things. We need a lot more and a lot more time. And so we are just overwhelmed. We have information overload. So, and that comes at a price. That has consequences. And what are the consequences? Well, we are more easily bored. We are feeling more unmotivated, finding it more difficult to motivate ourselves. We are more agitated, irritated, probably having sleep problems. And yeah, we are less focused. And of course, there's much more to come. I mean, more consequences. And I personally find, what I find really sad is that we are finding it more difficult to find pleasure in things. So let's say, I mean, we probably all know this, watching a film and, then reaching for our smartphones at the same time. It's the same when we are in a restaurant, eating out or meeting friends. How often do we find ourselves reaching for our smartphones? Because we are more bored now, we are less focused, and honestly, is this a price you want to pay? I don't want to pay this price. So I find it's time to claim our lives back. And we are not helpless. And this is here what you can do, Miriam. And everybody, all the Miriams outside and everybody else. Again, referring here to Dr. Anna Lamke, who recommends a 3 to 4 week break from social media. So let's be realistic. A total break from social media won't be possible, but you can start by having a break in the morning. So what can it look like? So you get up from bed, so you give yourself enough time to fully wake up, to settle into the day, and you grab for your phone 1 hour after getting up. So 1 hour, no social media in the morning. Then over time, you can extend it to the evening. 1 hour before you go to bed, no social media. Put your phone aside. And then it's basically that you are more aware of what you are doing. That you, when you reach for your phone, that you do it deliberately and not that there is someone driving you and you're not even aware of it, or something driving you, you're not even aware of it. And that's the one thing you can do. And very concrete tips are that you know, how can you get started? But first of all, I find it super important to be realistic. And here I'm also referring to behavioral scientist BJ Fogg. He says most people fail because they are setting the bar too high. You need to set the bar really low. So what can that look like? So when you are not used to running, start with 5 minutes. When you feel up to it, you can run 10 minutes. But you need success stories for your brain. And then because your brain, you need to stay motivated, because you need to keep running. Practice makes perfect. So you have to keep doing it so that you can establish a routine. And another thing is that, so how can you do it? How can you get started? Well, find a time find a time that works well for you. For example, mornings. Then the evening before, you get everything ready, your trainers, your outfit, everything ready, so that in the morning when you get up, you just put on your clothes and get running. And ideally, your alarm clock is a bit away from you so that you had to get out of bed to switch it off. And if you feel it a bit difficult to motivate yourself, look for a running buddy. And you can trust here that the pendulum will work in your favor. If you're not used to running, you might find it a bit difficult in the morning. You might find it a bit difficult, but the pendulum will then move from pain to pleasure. It's like the runner's high. You can trust that the pendulum will work in your favor. So these are my tips for you, Miriam, and everybody else outside there. Wishing you best of luck. And if you want to learn more about dopamine and how you can claim your motivation back, get a better understanding of what's holding you back and what moves you forward, I've written a blog post about this topic. You find the link in the description below. And in the meantime, keep moving. And thank you very much for watching. See you again.